I still remember the look on their faces. 24 hours earlier, they were laughing at me, recording me, mocking me in front of hundreds of customers, telling millions of followers what a useless waiter I was. But now they were standing in the corporate boardroom of the largest restaurant chain in California, staring at the presentation screen behind me. And suddenly, nobody was laughing anymore. You see, they thought I was just another waiter, a kid trying to earn minimum wage, someone they could embarrass for content. What they didn't know was that I wasn't there to serve food. I was there to evaluate people, and the report I was about to present would cost some of them everything. But before I tell you how that happened, let me introduce myself. My name is Ethan Carter. I'm 28 years old, and for the last 6 months, I've been working undercover inside my father's restaurant empire. Not because I needed the money, not because I was bored, but because my father taught me something important when I was a child. The true character of a person is revealed by how they treat people who can do nothing for them. Those words would change several lives forever, especially the lives of a group of influencers who thought kindness was weakness. It all started on a busy Friday night. The restaurant was packed. Every table was full. The waiting list stretched over an hour. Families celebrated birthdays. Business executives discussed deals. Couples enjoyed romantic dinners. The entire dining room buzzed with energy. I was carrying a tray of drinks toward table 17 when the front doors swung open. Immediately, everyone noticed them. 5 young influencers entered the restaurant surrounded by cameras, expensive designer clothes, luxury watches, perfect makeup, perfect smiles, perfect fake personalities. At least that's what I thought when I first saw them. Leading the group was Madison Blake, 24 years old, over 8 million followers across social media, known for lifestyle content, luxury travel, and public pranks. Behind her walked Tyler Grant, another influencer famous for filming social experiments that often looked more like public humiliation. The other 3 followed close behind, each holding cameras, each recording every second. The hostess greeted them politely. "Good evening. Welcome to Carter's Grill." Madison didn't even look at her. "We need your best table." The hostess smiled. "Certainly. Do you have a reservation?" Madison laughed, the kind of laugh people use when they believe rules don't apply to them. "Do you know who I am?" The hostess remained professional. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but reservations are required for priority seating." Tyler immediately pointed his camera toward her face. "So, this restaurant doesn't value influencers?" The poor hostess looked uncomfortable. I could already see where this was heading. Eventually, the manager seated them at a premium table after another party canceled. From the moment they sat down, trouble started. They demanded special treatment, sent food back repeatedly, asked for free items, filmed employees without permission, and treated every staff member like they existed purely for entertainment. Several waiters requested not to serve them. Unfortunately, I was assigned their section. As I approached their table with menus, Madison barely glanced up. Finally. No hello, no thank you. Just finally. I smiled anyway. "What can I get started for you tonight?" For the next 20 minutes, they changed orders repeatedly, asked endless questions, and recorded nearly every interaction. But I remained calm, patient, professional. Because that's what I was there to evaluate. Not them. Myself. Then came the moment that changed everything. The moment that would go viral overnight. And the moment they would regret for the rest of their careers. I was carrying a tray loaded with drinks. The restaurant was crowded. A child unexpectedly ran past my path. I adjusted quickly to avoid hitting him. One glass tilted. A small amount of sparkling water splashed onto Madison's designer handbag. Maybe 2 tablespoons. No more. The entire restaurant went silent. Oh my God! Madison jumped to her feet dramatically. My bag! I immediately apologized. I'm so sorry, ma'am. But she wasn't interested in apologies. She was interested in content. And unfortunately for everyone involved, the cameras were already recording. The entire restaurant went silent. Oh my God! Madison jumped out of her chair and stared at the tiny water spot on her designer handbag as if someone had poured a bucket over it. My bag! I immediately placed the tray down. I'm very sorry, ma'am. Let me get a towel right away. But Madison wasn't listening. She grabbed the bag dramatically and held it toward her camera. Look at this! Tyler quickly zoomed in. Guys, this waiter literally ruined a $3,000 designer bag. Several customers exchanged confused looks. Everyone had seen what happened. It was barely a splash. Most of the water had landed on the floor. But that wasn't the story they wanted. They wanted drama. And drama gets views. I sincerely apologize, I said calmly. We'll take care of it. Madison laughed sarcastically. Take care of it? Can you even afford this bag? A few people at nearby tables looked uncomfortable. The hostess glanced toward me, worried. I simply nodded. Would you like me to bring the manager? Obviously, Madison shouted loud enough for half the restaurant to hear. The cameras continued rolling. Tyler pointed his phone directly at my face. How much do they pay you here anyway? I didn't answer. What? Too embarrassed to say? The group laughed. The manager, Carlos, arrived seconds later. Carlos had worked for Carter's Grill for 12 years. He was one of the reasons our restaurants had such strong customer service ratings. Good evening, Carlos said professionally. How can I help? Madison immediately launched into her performance. Your employee damaged my property. Carlos examined the bag. A small water stain. Nothing more. We apologize for the inconvenience. Inconvenience? Tyler interrupted. This bag costs more than his monthly salary. The cameras focused on me again. The group laughed. Several customers looked disgusted. Not at me, at them. But influencers rarely notice when public opinion starts shifting. They're too busy listening to themselves. Carlos offered complimentary dessert. Madison refused. Carlos offered dry cleaning reimbursement. Madison refused. Nothing would satisfy her except humiliation. Finally, she pointed at me. I want him fired. The restaurant became even quieter. Carlos folded his hands. I'm afraid we don't terminate employees over accidental spills. Madison stared at him. Excuse me. Accidents happen. Tyler smirked. You know this video is going online tonight, right? Carlos didn't react. Madison smiled. Let's see how your restaurant feels after millions of people watch it. Then she turned toward her camera. Guys, should this waiter be fired? Comment below. The group laughed again. I simply stood there, calm, quiet, observing. Exactly what I had been trained to do. After another 10 minutes of complaints, they finally finished dinner. When the bill arrived, Madison looked at it and laughed. After everything that happened, you're actually charging us? Carlos remained professional. Yes, ma'am. They paid, left no tip, and walked out still recording. The moment they disappeared, the restaurant exhaled. One elderly customer shook his head. Young man, he said to me, you handled that better than I would have. Another customer added, you didn't deserve that. I thanked them both. But inside I was already thinking about what came next, because every Carter's Grill location had cameras, every interaction, every complaint, every employee evaluation. And tonight's footage was about to become very important. The next morning I woke up to 17 missed calls. Most were from corporate staff. One was from my father. The video had exploded overnight. 5 million views. Then 7 million. Then 10 million. The title read, Rude Waiter Destroys Influencer's Designer Bag. The comments were divided. Some believed Madison's version. Others noticed how exaggerated her reaction seemed. But the damage was already spreading. Several news websites picked up the story. Entertainment blogs reposted clips. Even local television stations discussed it. Meanwhile, Madison and her friends celebrated. Tyler posted another video. "We're holding businesses accountable." Madison uploaded a dramatic apology demand, and thousands of followers flooded the restaurant's social media pages. They thought they had won. They had no idea what was happening behind the scenes. At 10 a.m., I arrived at Carter's Grill headquarters, a 20-story glass building overlooking downtown Los Angeles. Inside the executive conference room sat 12 people, regional managers, board members, corporate executives, and at the head of the table, my father, William Carter, founder of Carter's Grill, owner of 137 restaurants, worth hundreds of millions, yet still the same man who taught me to respect janitors, cashiers, and waiters. The giant screen behind him displayed one image: Madison Blake, Tyler Grant, and their entire group. My father looked around the room. "Let's begin." The legal team started first. "We've reviewed all footage." The screen changed. Security camera angles appeared. Different perspectives. Clear footage. Undeniable footage. The entire restaurant watched as Madison exaggerated the incident. The room watched as Tyler mocked employees. The room watched every insult, every threat, every attempt to humiliate workers for content. When the footage ended, nobody spoke for several seconds. Then my father looked at me. "Ethan." I stood. The room became silent. For 6 months, I had worked undercover in 22 different restaurant locations. Nobody outside this room knew who I really was, not even most managers. I clicked the remote. A new slide appeared. Customer Behavior Evaluation Report. Then I said something that would change everything. "Yesterday wasn't an accident." The room looked confused. "It was the final phase of our undercover customer respect assessment." Every executive leaned forward. I smiled slightly. "And our influencers failed. Failed spectacularly. You filmed them without permission. You insulted them. You treated them like they were beneath you." Tyler shifted uncomfortably. "We were just creating content." I nodded. "Exactly." The screen changed again. This time, dozens of employee survey responses appeared, one sentence after another. I felt humiliated. I was scared I'd lose my job because of their followers. I cried after my shift. I never want to be treated like that again. The influencers stopped looking at the screen. Suddenly, it wasn't funny anymore. Suddenly, there were consequences. Madison lowered her eyes. I didn't realize. "No," I said quietly. "You didn't care." That hurt more than anything, because it was true. For years, they had built careers humiliating strangers, pranks, public shaming, embarrassing workers, making ordinary people the joke. And millions watched, liked, shared, commented. But now they were seeing the human side of those videos, the side nobody ever showed. My father stood. "When I started this company 30 years ago, I washed dishes." The room turned toward him. "I cleaned floors. I carried garbage. I served tables. And I promised myself that no employee working for me would ever be treated like they were less valuable than anyone else." His voice grew firmer. "We sell food. We don't sell dignity." Nobody moved. Then the legal director spoke. "There's another issue." The screen changed again. Several clips appeared. Video clips from their social media channels. Hundreds of examples. Influencers mocking cashiers, ridiculing delivery drivers, harassing hotel employees, embarrassing store workers. A pattern. Not one mistake. Not one bad day. A pattern. Tyler looked nervous. "Why are you showing us this?" The legal director folded his hands. "Because Carter's Grill was preparing a national advertising campaign." Madison's eyes widened. A campaign? My father nodded. Worth $5 million. The room fell silent. And our influencers failed. Failed spectacularly. A few executives exchanged looks. My father leaned back in his chair. Show them. I clicked the remote. The screen changed again. A scorecard appeared. Customer respect evaluation. Madison Blake, 12 over 100. Tyler Grant, 8 over 100. Jordan Mills, 17 over 100. Ashley Reed, 21 over 100. Connor Price, 15 over 100. The lowest scores anyone had ever received. The vice president of operations frowned. How bad was it? I changed slides. A list appeared. Disrespect toward employees, harassment, public humiliation, threatening staff, attempting to use social media influence to intimidate management, creating a hostile environment for workers. The list kept going. Several board members looked genuinely shocked. My father folded his hands. For 35 years, we've built this company around one principle. The room listened carefully. Every person deserves respect. He pointed toward the screen. These people represent everything we stand against. The legal director cleared her throat. There's something else. She clicked another slide. The screen filled with logos, major brands, luxury clothing companies, hotels, restaurants, technology firms, all current sponsors of Madison and Tyler. Everyone in the room immediately understood. These influencers earned millions from sponsorships. Millions. And every sponsor cared deeply about public reputation. My father looked at me. What do you recommend? I took a breath. The truth. Only the truth? Only the truth. He smiled. Good answer. Then he stood. Prepare the meeting. Meanwhile, across town, Madison Blake was celebrating. Her latest video had reached 15 million views. Comments flooded in. You're so brave. That waiter deserved to be fired. Businesses need accountability. She loved every second of it. Then her phone rang. The caller ID displayed Carter's Grill corporate office. Madison smiled. See, she told Tyler. They're finally giving in. She answered immediately. This is Madison. A professional voice spoke. Good afternoon, Miss Blake. We'd like to invite you and your team to Carter's Grill headquarters tomorrow morning. Madison grinned. To discuss compensation? To discuss the incident. She muted the call. Tyler was already smiling. We got them. The group celebrated. They imagined lawsuits, settlement money, public apologies, maybe even a brand partnership. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The next morning, at exactly 10 a.m., Madison and her friends entered Carter's Grill headquarters. Everything about the building screamed success. Marble floors, glass walls, luxury furnishings, corporate artwork. The influencers immediately began recording content. Guys, we're at Carter's Grill Corporate, Tyler whispered dramatically. This should be interesting. An assistant escorted them upstairs, to the executive boardroom, the largest room in the building. The doors opened, and suddenly, their confidence disappeared. Around the table sat 12 executives, senior managers, lawyers, board members, people who controlled a billion-dollar restaurant company. At the head of the table sat William Carter himself. Even Madison recognized him. Everyone in the restaurant industry knew William Carter. But something else immediately caught her attention. Someone sitting beside him. Someone very familiar. Someone wearing an expensive navy suit. Someone she had seen only 2 days earlier wearing a waiter uniform. The color drained from her face. Tyler stopped walking. Jordan froze. Ashley looked confused. And then horrified. Because sitting beside the founder was me. The waiter. The same waiter they had mocked. The same waiter they had tried to get fired. The same waiter they had humiliated in front of millions. Madison stared. No. I stood slowly. Good morning. Nobody spoke. You remember me, right? Tyler looked like he might faint. This isn't possible. William Carter smiled. Oh, it's very possible. He stood. I'd like to introduce my son. Silence. Absolute silence. Ethan Carter. The room felt frozen. Madison's mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. You? I nodded. Me? But you were a waiter. I was. Why? My father answered. Because, unlike some people, my son understands the value of work. The executives remained silent, watching, listening, learning. William Carter continued. Ethan has spent the last 6 months working undercover throughout our restaurant chain. Madison's eyes widened. Undercover? Evaluating service quality, employee treatment, customer behavior. Tyler suddenly understood. His face turned white. Oh my God. Exactly. Oh my God. Because the realization was finally hitting them. The waiter they humiliated wasn't powerless. He had been evaluating them the entire time. And now, their future was sitting on the other side of the table, waiting to speak. I clicked the remote. The giant screen behind me lit up. A single title appeared. The Cost of Disrespect, and underneath it, a paused video. The exact moment Madison laughed and asked, Can you even afford this bag? Nobody spoke. The influencers sat frozen. For the first time in years, they weren't controlling the narrative. They weren't holding the camera. They weren't deciding what the audience would see. Now, they were the ones being watched. I pressed play. The security footage began. Not the edited version they uploaded online. The complete version. Every second. Every word. Every insult. The room watched as Madison rolled her eyes at me, as Tyler mocked my uniform, as Jordan laughed when a dishwasher accidentally dropped a tray, as Ashley filmed employees without permission. The executives around the table became visibly uncomfortable. The footage continued. Then came the moment. The moment that changed everything. Madison held up her designer handbag and said loudly, This bag costs more than you make in a month. Several board members exchanged looks. Tyler laughed. Maybe he should be grateful we're giving him content. The video stopped. Silence. A very long silence. Then my father spoke. Do any of you believe this behavior is acceptable? Nobody answered. Not even the influencers. Because there was no defense, no explanation, no clever excuse. The footage spoke for itself. Finally, Madison cleared her throat. Look, we were joking. The legal director leaned forward. Joking? She clicked another slide. The screen filled with employee statements. Dozens of them. Servers, hosts, kitchen staff, managers, real people, real feelings. One statement read, I cried in my car after my shift. Another, I almost quit because I felt humiliated. Another, I've worked here for 7 years and never felt so disrespected. Madison looked down. Tyler couldn't even look at the screen anymore. My father folded his hands. These aren't jokes. They're human beings. The room fell silent again. Then the vice president of marketing spoke. There's another issue. A new slide appeared. 23 sponsor logos, luxury brands, travel companies, fitness products, tech firms, clothing companies. Madison's eyes widened. Those logos represented millions of dollars. Millions. The marketing VP continued. Yesterday afternoon, we sent the complete security footage to every company currently sponsoring your content. Tyler's jaw dropped. You what? We believe businesses should have complete information before making partnership decisions. Jordan nearly jumped out of his chair. You sent them everything? Every second. The legal director smiled slightly. Unedited. The influencers looked terrified. Their phones suddenly started vibrating, one after another. Buzz. 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 Notifications poured in. Emails, messages, calls. Madison grabbed her phone. Her face instantly turned pale. "What happened?" Ashley whispered. Madison couldn't speak. She simply turned the screen around. The email was from her largest sponsor. Subject: termination of partnership. Tyler checked his phone. Then another. And another. His face became ghost white. "No." Jordan looked down at his own device. 3 sponsors. Gone. Ashley started crying. The room remained silent. Nobody felt sorry for them, because every employee they humiliated had felt exactly the same way. Powerless, embarrassed, ignored. Now the feeling had simply returned to its source. My father stood up. "For years you've built careers humiliating strangers." He slowly walked around the table. "You embarrassed workers. You mocked service staff. You treated ordinary people like props for entertainment." He stopped directly behind Madison's chair. "And you never imagined there would be consequences." Madison looked up. Tears were forming in her eyes. "We made a mistake." "No," I said quietly. "A mistake is spilling a drink. A mistake is forgetting an order." I pointed toward the frozen image of myself on the screen. "You looked at another human being and decided he was beneath you. That wasn't a mistake. That was character." Nobody argued, because they knew I was right. Then my father surprised everyone, including me. He sat back down and smiled. "We're not here to destroy your lives." The influencers looked confused. "We're not?" "No." He shook his head. "That would be easy." The room listened carefully. "What we're interested in is accountability." Madison blinked. "What does that mean?" My father nodded toward me. "That's Ethan's decision." Every eye turned toward me. I took a deep breath, then stood. "I have one condition." The influencers immediately leaned forward. Hope appeared on their faces. "What is it?" Madison asked. I looked at all 4 of them, then at the employee statements on the screen, then back at them. For the next 30 days, the room became completely silent. "You will work." Madison frowned. "Work?" I nodded. "At our restaurants." Tyler stared. "You can't be serious." "Oh, I'm serious," I smiled. "Very serious." The board members were trying not to laugh. I continued. "No cameras. No assistants. No VIP treatment. You'll clean tables, wash dishes, take orders, handle angry customers, work double shifts." And at the end of those 30 days, I paused. The room waited. "You'll make a video." "What kind of video?" Ashley asked quietly. "The truth. The truth about how hard these people work. The truth about respect. The truth about treating workers like human beings." Silence. Madison slowly looked around the room. For the first time in her life, she understood. Not fame, not followers, not money. Respect. Real respect. The kind that couldn't be bought, couldn't be inherited, couldn't be faked. Finally, she nodded. "We'll do it." Tyler looked shocked, but eventually he nodded too. Then Jordan. Then Ashley. My father smiled. "Good." The meeting was over, but their lesson was just beginning. And over the next 30 days, their lives would change forever. 30 days. That was all they had to do. 30 days working real jobs. No luxury hotels. No VIP treatment. No assistants carrying coffee. No cameras following them. Just work. The same work they had spent years mocking. And from the very first day, they realized how difficult it actually was. Madison's first assignment was at a busy Carter's Grill location in downtown Boston. Friday night, the busiest shift of the week. Over 200 customers packed the restaurant. The manager handed her an apron. "Table section 3. Madison stared at it. "That's it?" The manager smiled. "That's it." For the first hour, she thought it would be easy. Then reality arrived. Customers needed refills. Orders were wrong. Children spilled drinks. A businessman complained about his steak. A woman demanded a different table. 3 customers wanted separate checks. The kitchen was backed up, and everyone expected perfect service. By the end of the shift, Madison's feet were killing her. Her back hurt, and she had never been so exhausted in her life. As she sat in her car afterward, she remembered mocking Ethan, mocking his job, mocking his uniform. For the first time, she felt ashamed. Tyler's experience was even worse. He was assigned to dishwashing, the job he once called a dead-end career. 8 hours, standing, scrubbing, cleaning, lifting heavy trays, working in heat and steam. By lunchtime, his designer shoes were ruined. By dinner, his hands were sore. And by closing time, he could barely stand. The dishwasher working beside him was a 58-year-old immigrant named Carlos. Carlos never complained, never stopped smiling, never slowed down. At one point, Tyler asked him, "How long have you been doing this?" Carlos smiled. 22 years. Tyler nearly dropped a plate. 22 years? Carlos nodded. This job helped me raise 3 children. My daughter is a nurse now. My son owns a construction company. My youngest just graduated college. Then Carlos smiled proudly. This job gave my family a future. That sentence hit Tyler harder than anything, because he realized something. Carlos wasn't just a dishwasher. He was a father, a provider, a hard-working man who deserved respect, just like everyone else. Meanwhile, Ashley worked as a hostess. Jordan worked in food preparation. And slowly, their perspective began changing. For years, they had viewed workers as background characters, people who existed to serve them. Now they saw the truth. Every employee had a story. Every employee had dreams, families, responsibilities, struggles, goals. The people they once laughed at were some of the strongest people they'd ever met. Week 2. Something unexpected happened. The employees started accepting them, not because they were influencers, because they were trying, really trying. Madison stayed late to help clean tables. Tyler volunteered for extra shifts. Ashley brought coffee for the morning crew. Jordan helped unload deliveries. For the first time in years, they weren't performing for followers. They were becoming better people. Then came the biggest test. Week 3. A group of young influencers entered Madison's restaurant. Almost immediately, she recognized them. Millions of followers, luxury clothes, expensive cameras, and bad attitudes. One influencer snapped his fingers. "Hey, waitress!" Madison froze. The word sounded familiar. Too familiar. The influencer pointed at his drink. "Get me another one." "No, please. No, thank you. Just entitlement." Madison suddenly remembered exactly how Ethan had felt. The humiliation, the disrespect, the assumption that service workers didn't matter. For the first time in her life, she was on the receiving end, and she hated it. That night, she cried in her apartment. Not because customers were rude, because she finally understood the pain she had caused others. At headquarters, I received weekly reports, employee feedback, manager evaluations, progress updates. My father reviewed them with me. One evening, he looked up from a report. "They're changing." I nodded. "I know." The reports showed it. Employees described them differently now. Respectful, helpful, humble, hardworking. The same people who once mocked workers were slowly becoming people worth respecting. Then day 30 arrived, the final day. All 4 influencers returned to headquarters. The same boardroom, the same table, but completely different people. Madison looked nervous. Tyler looked older somehow, more mature, less arrogant. My father smiled. "So, what did you learn?" Nobody answered immediately. Finally, Madison spoke. "I learned that being served doesn't make you better than the person serving you." The room remained quiet. Tyler nodded. I learned that every job matters. Jordan swallowed hard. I learned that respect isn't something you earn with followers. Ashley wiped away tears. I learned that we hurt a lot of people. Silence filled the room. Then I nodded. Good. Madison looked at me. We made the video. I smiled. Let's see it. The screen lit up. The video began. No flashy editing. No dramatic music. Just honesty. Real honesty. Madison appeared first. My name is Madison Blake. For years, I built an audience by humiliating people. She looked directly into the camera. And I was wrong. Tyler spoke next. We mocked workers because we thought their jobs made them less important. Jordan continued. We were arrogant. Ashley finished. And we're sorry. The video showed dishwashers, servers, hosts, managers, real workers, real stories, real people. Then came the final scene. Carlos, the dishwasher, the same man who had changed Tyler's life. He smiled at the camera. Respect costs nothing. The screen faded to black. The room sat quietly. No one spoke for several seconds. Then my father stood and started clapping. Slowly. One clap, then another. Soon the entire boardroom joined in. Not because the influencers were famous, because they had finally learned the lesson. 3 months later, their apology video reached 50 million views. But something was different. For the first time, people weren't watching them because they were cruel. People were watching because they were honest. Several sponsors returned. Not all, but some. And every new partnership included one condition: no humiliation content. Ever again. Madison eventually launched a campaign supporting restaurant workers. Tyler raised money for employee scholarships. Jordan volunteered at community centers. Ashley created content focused on kindness instead of embarrassment. And Carter's Grill? Business grew faster than ever, because people admired a company that protected its workers. One evening, my father and I visited the same restaurant where everything had started. The same dining room, the same tables, the same place where I had been humiliated. Carlos walked over smiling. Evening, boss. I laughed. Evening, Carlos. My father looked around the restaurant, proud, happy. Then he asked me, was it worth it? I looked at the employees laughing together, the customers enjoying their meals, the team that finally felt respected, and I smiled. Yeah, it was worth it. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying someone, it's teaching them to become better than they were before, and that's a lesson worth serving every day. Before you go, hit that subscribe button and join our storytelling family. And write your city and country in the comments below. Are you listening from New York, Toronto, London, Sydney, or somewhere else? I can't wait to see where you're watching from. Until next time, take care and remember, kindness always matters.